Good day, and thank you for tuning in to this week's episode with Coffee with Doc, every third Tuesday of the month at 6 a.m., live and direct. Thank you for my coffee, Kay. I'm putting in my little warmer coffee. Best Buy had these cups that, like, literally, you can pour your coffee in and it keeps your coffee warm for hours. Best thing ever. But again, I got in early this morning and jumped on this contract that I'm behind on, and I don't like being behind the 8-ball. But nevertheless, we're here, live and direct. Good morning, Kay.
Good morning. All right, so what do you have new for us?
Okay, we got to break ground on this assisted living facility. Really excited about that. Getting the financing in place now and making sure that we can break ground next month. So that's the, shout out to my partner, Sheila, whose flight got delayed. I meant to ask if she was on Air Canada. She texted me late last night. Yeah, I know when I go to sleep, I'm knocked out. So if I hear my phone pinging and ringing in the background, I'm not processing it fully in the middle of my sleep. But nevertheless, shout out to Sheila. Hope you make it back. Hope you were not on that Air Canada nonsense that shut everything down over the weekend. But yeah, that's the newest thing, Kay, that we're really excited about, is getting this assisted living facility up and going and under construction. Because that's the first thing. We can break ground and we get that construction going. We are well on our way to start our first assisted living facility called North Morning Star Assisted Living Facility. I can see it. You know it's about to blow up, Kay? Like something that's not even industry related. I've had 3 phone calls on clients who's like, hey, who did those custom walls in those kids' bedroom? Clients are now asking for customized anime or artwork or Marvel comics. Now, mind you, I didn't do that. I wish I was that talented and could take credit. I did not do those paintings. No one in Tebow Construction did those paintings. However, we had the connect, we had the management and the oversight, and we also have a seamless way of making that plan come together and I'm sure Kay can like attach some little video clip in here. But man, these kids' bedrooms on these clients' homes that we did, a custom home, fire. Kay, you ever seen anything like that, those bedrooms?
No.
But yeah, I've had 3 people call, and Kay, thank you, Kay. I'm gonna give you your flowers on camera. Kay is always on point, always prompt. When we shoot something, if it's not posted that day, post it the very next day. And I don't have to, go behind Kay and be like, hey, did we post that video? Man, I know that it's posted. I know it's a great video because people just call me out of the blue. So I've had 3 people call me out of the blue about how do they get their kids' room with a custom mural, a custom theme like that. So, okay, that's something I didn't even think about actually providing as a service. And that's something you don't see that's unique. That, out of all of these hundreds of thousands of people in our area, millions of people on our coast, people are now inquiring about custom paint jobs for their kids' room. So yeah, okay, that's something new that's in the industry. Something that we are also seeing a turn and trend, and I was out showing some condos yesterday. And one thing we noticed, and a client pointed this out, and I didn't even think anything about it, that condos that were built in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even 90s, they were built with much more square footage than you see these condos that are built in the 21st century. I mean, literally, condos that are built in the 21st century, man, some of these condos are now 600 square feet. I mean, they're really, really small. And as a developer, I had to check myself consciously, like, do we do that to pack more units in a building and to get a lower price point, thinking that we'll get a bigger audience or a wider selection of buyers? Or do we do that and not just consciously realize that maybe people do want space and they don't want these little tight efficiency apartments? So that's something I was exploring yesterday mentally, internally, when the client said that to me. So that you can clearly see a trend in. Just test it. Anybody go out there and look at a condo built anywhere from the 60s to the 20th century, which is the 1990s, compared to condos that were built in the 21st century. And let me know if you too see that they're built much smaller than they were before. Good morning, Ms. Purvis. Them my people, man. We did a full gut renovation for them over in Washington, D.C. And Ms. Purvis, I know you're one of my #1 supporters because anytime I go on social media, I always see you commenting like our stuff. So I appreciate you being a great client over all of these years. We love you and your family, and it's always good to see and hear from you. I'm glad to know that you're still alive and kicking out there.
So people want more space in their living. let's speak about home additions, and then, we can wrap this up, because we know you gotta get back to your contract. But home additions, what are some do's and don'ts?
Funny, Kay, we literally are doing 4 home additions right now simultaneously. Shout out to Ms. Gardner out in Clinton, Maryland. We were gonna modify her attic space and put 2 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms up there. However, when we took our structural engineer over there, you know how you build, you buy those custom homes, Lennar, Caruso, Ryan Homes, and they give you options that you can add to the home. So one of the options was she could have finished her attic space in the 2 bedrooms, 1 bath, but she chose not to. So the builder, being cheap, took the easy way out. They just took these A-frames and these roof trusses, and they just got like framing everywhere. So it would have been a nightmare attempting to try to undo that framing, make sure a roof was properly structurally supported. So the engineer was like, you might just want to put an addition here because it's going to take a lot of work. We would have had to take her roof off, which we were hoping we didn't have to do. Long story short, she ended up putting 2 floors on the rear of her home, which is a much better design, gave her much more square footage. It's like 24 feet deep and 20 feet wide, yeah, if I remember correctly. So that's what, 240 times 2, what's that, 580? That can't be right. Gotta be more square footage than that. But nevertheless, we decided to put the extension and the addition on the river home, and it's gonna be a beautiful addition. So stay tuned to that. You'll see a Clinton home, one of those, what would you call that? 1 level, colonial style homes that, we're putting 2 levels on. And the reason why we're putting 2 levels is because like 1 level, how you getting 2 levels? Where her yard goes on a hill and her basement is a walkout. So as we add from the first floor into the basement is completely, by the time you get to the back of it, above ground. So that's how you're getting 2 levels. So she's able to add 2 levels to her home. Why am I math out? 20 times 24 times 20, that's 8, that's 480, 480. That's 960, that's 960 square feet that we're adding. I had to get my math right, 24 times 20 is 480 times 2, that's 960 square feet that we're adding. So we're gonna be putting not only 2 bedrooms and a full bath on the bottom level, but we're also gonna be putting a kitchenette and a sitting family area on the first level, because what she wanted to do was give a family member who was now permanently residing with her their own space away from everybody else. So this worked out perfectly. Again, that property is in Clinton, so we should be breaking ground. I mean, she finalized the decision yesterday to go that route. We met with her. So by the time we submit for permits, get her floor plans and everything, that stuff should be ready by the end of the month, and by September, we should be breaking ground on our property. So stay tuned for that as Kate continues to shoot these great projects in the field, and you all continue to send us great direct messages about how we can help you and any information that we can provide for you to make sure that you're not falling in the don'ts of addition. So going back to the question, do's and don'ts. The do's is make sure your addition makes sense. What do I mean by that? Make sure that everybody doesn't buy a home that's their forever home. Let's be honest about that. And especially if in your 20s, 30s, 9 times out of 10, the home that you're in is not gonna be your forever home. So make sure that the house makes sense for the next person, as well as makes sense for your practical use and intended purposes in which you currently build and design that addition. So what do I mean by that? One of the things I told Ms. Sarah is I said, Ms. Sarah, look, for this first floor, it's coming off of the family room. So we're taking one of the windows and you walk into the space. I said, if this is not your forever home, let's make sure that when you do go to sell this home, that we can take the kitchenette out of it, and we can take anything out of it and make it feel like a morning room space, or make it feel like an additional, people like to have these rooms where they put their flowers in, they get all of the sunlight, a solarium. Like, let's just make sure that when we go to sell the home, that we can convert this room back to something that's gonna make sense for someone, because everybody's not gonna want this to be an extension for an extended family member to feel like they got their own space. So that's one of the first do's, is make sure that you design it where it makes sense now and forevermore. One of the biggest don'ts is don't let a contractor give you a blanketed price when you're doing a home addition, because there's a lot that's involved in that, especially in DC, where if you're doing a rear addition, we call it a bump out. Sometimes you have to do a lot of excavating. Sometimes the footers are like hellacious in terms of just the construct of them and the excavation that's involved and the amount of concrete and the size of rebar. Like all of that stuff can be very costly. So what you don't want to do is have a contractor give you a blanketed price and say, contractors ask, what's your budget? Well, my budget for this project is $50,000. Okay, we can do this for $75,000. Okay, so the contractor gives you a blanketed number for $75,000. Say he's gonna do your extension. Doesn't have any details in there, doesn't have any items in there specifically calling out what he's gonna do. You sign the contract, you pay the deposit. Contractor go get started and they say, oh, well, we didn't include this in the contract because in this very vague language, we didn't say that we're gonna have to give you a new foundation. That's gonna be extra $10,000. Like, what? Oh yeah, and in the contract, we didn't specify that now that we have gone through permitting that you can't go the 20 feet that you want, you can only go 15 feet. First question, you're gonna be like, well, do I get some of my money back? Well, no, contract states that we're gonna bill your addition for $75,000, but we still gotta build the same addition even though you're losing 5 feet times whatever that width is of space. Like, get spelled out clearly in your contract what that contractor is doing, how many square feet you're gonna get, the finished material that you're gonna get, so they're not giving you cheap material or material that they decide, but you have the autonomy and ability to select your own materials. Make sure I see this so many times, people get these home additions done, big and small, and the general contractor have not spelled out what they're getting, and everywhere throughout the contract, they feel like they're getting change order to death. So they start off with a $50,000 budget. Contractors still came in higher than their budget, and then by the time they're finished, their budget has actually more than doubled in many instances. So if your contractor is hesitant and reluctant about showing you in writing what you're paying for and what you're being charged for, get you another contractor.
All right, so in wrapping this up, what are some words that you have for us this week?
Words of wisdom. So I had this daily planner that I write in. Every day it has a quote. And one of the quotes that it had in there this morning, because I read it every morning initially, is that never put off what you can do today for tomorrow. Procrastination is the ultimate killer of time. Now, I know all of us have heard that at some point in our lives, in our careers, in our relationships, that don't put off for tomorrow what you can do today, because that is procrastination. And no one's promised tomorrow. And people count on you today. And if you got something that you need to do today, rest and assured that it's not going anywhere, because you and only you have to do it. And if you carry your today and tomorrow, now you got not only yesterday's stuff and tomorrow, but you also have that day stuff. And then you get into the mentality of that's okay. And then you got Monday that spilled over to Tuesday. You didn't need to do anything Monday, Tuesday. Now you got Monday, Tuesday spill over to Wednesday. You didn't do anything Monday, Tuesday. Now you got Wednesday stuff to spill over to Thursday. You didn't do anything Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You get the point, right? And that stuff just builds up. And it makes it look like you're not about your business. And then people cannot rely on you to simply be the best you that you can be and just do the things that you need to do to move first and foremost your agenda and your goals along before anyone else can depend on you to help them with their goals and their agenda. So don't procrastinate. Ultimate killer time. And procrastination is a disease. It really is. And it can infest your thought process. It can infest your spirit. Come on, Pastor K, tell them. Tell them. We want to hear. I bet I felt that thing hit me just now, Pastor K. With that being said and done, K, we appreciate you. We appreciate everybody out there who support us, who continuously message us. Keep us in your hearts. Keep us in your prayers. Keep us always as your number one go-to person when it comes to anything construction related or real estate related. Till next time, I'll see you at our next construction site.